So we shall see. Okay, coming up here to the O2 area again, gave you a chance to exit that trade there for a little bit of a scratch. Nice rotation there against the O2 area, and put the O2 instead of 3 because I thought we would have a little rotation here off of it. Now I got to be a little bit careful here, like I said, because of the opportunity there. But you're going to get stopped because they're going to hit some stops there, and they hit some stops really quick. And now we're just kind of pushing our way up. Again, we gave you a chance to market gave you a chance to scratch some of those 96s if you got in. And nothing wrong with at that moment in time, only because of the volatility was there and how it's moving. Sometimes you have to make adjustments on the fly here. Maybe you also bought some up here above the 03 just because of the triple top up there. You know, the stops were going to get hit. But we'll look for 13 next. So again, if the volatility is too great, you can always, just watch for the first few bars and see what happens. Because we're trading off of a definitely a kind of sell through, hit all the stops kind of trading day yesterday. Again, we had a little bit of a buy there. I told you keep your stop tight above the 03 area. Maybe you're buying the dip here, looking for a push higher, looking up for the 13 area. Had a quick rotation off of 02. This gave us about 2 points there. And then just pop back up here again, not a surprise with the way it's trading and the technical situation there. But that's why we told you to keep a tight stop there above the 03. Maybe you even got long there. Push, getting a little push up here, going up to 13. That'll be our next target. So remember the thinness of the market. The VIX is in the 20s. So we're trying to keep you a little long here for a little bit of push up. Again, the mentioned how they were going to hit some stops, and maybe you combine a little dip rotation off of that these interim highs that they're making, giving you a scalping opportunity. Trying to hold up here till we get to 13. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but just keep your stops in play and take some profits along the way. It's not. Again, we are not when you're trading, there are different setups that occur based on the price action. And even though one setup comes upon one of our levels, you have to look at the price action to help you understand, what you want to do in a particular area. So I suggested that you want to keep a tight stop and maybe even get long there above the nice little triple top that market developed over the last 2 days there. Now we're trying to push here to the 13. Nice little. Nice little. Nice little. Nice little. Okay. Nice little. Coming off here a little bit. Again, the market is not going to go straight up or straight down, so you have to. Nice little. Coming off here a little bit. Consideration. Again, the market is not going to go straight up or straight down, so you probably take some profits along the way there. All right, let's see what else we can talk about here. So we have factory orders and ISM services index coming out here at 9 o'clock. So at the top of the hour here, we have a couple numbers. The market did go down back down to that 03 area, maybe a little bit of a buy there for you if you were really aggressive. So we have a couple numbers coming out here at 9. Now we're getting this continued push up here to the 13. Again, we're trying to keep you a little bit long here, but the market does rotate up and down, so maybe it did give you a chance to buy them against that old resistance area. Talked about the anything above 03 being a little bit of a buy. They rotated back down and gave us a push, another continued push up here. So gave you a second chance to get long there if you didn't get long the first time. Okay, got up here to the 12 area. Again, hopefully you're taking some profits, so that maybe even getting short there against 13, against 12. Again, remember the volatility is there, so your scales have got to be a little bit wider, right? That kind of doesn't sound logical, but we're not going to be perfect. Like we talked about yesterday, we were missing everything by a point, and even that continues here today. So hopefully we had some resistance up there at the 13 area. We got up to 12, traded 12 a little bit, and nice rotation off of it. Hopefully you were taking some profits up there along the way, and also maybe even maybe you got short there against that 13 area. Again, taking advantage of some ebbs and flows of the market. That's all we're trying to do here. As the market is injected with some volatility based on the fact that the Fed decided, well, I don't know, that the Fed minutes confirmed what the Fed said 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's hard to figure out this, market sometimes. All right. Again, now the market's rotating down against that 13 area that we had. We got up to 12. Again, remember the volatility. You have to scale on a little bit differently because of the volatility. Again, nice rotation there against our resistance level up there. Again, we're not going to be perfect, so hopefully we're able to scale into that level. If you did get short, if you were trying to get long, we were trying to keep you long up to that area, hopefully you were able to take some profits along the way, one way or the other there, whether you got long and or short. Hopefully you were able to take advantage of this little market move here. Again, nothing's perfect. You're going to sometimes have to, talked about getting long above the 3, came back down, gave you a chance to buy 3s, and then rotated back up. And now we're just coming back down here. If you're trying to stay short against that area, the 94 area would be good exit strategy if we get back down there, or just have a trailing stop. If you look at the chat box area there, you'll see the levels that we had are as a guide for our day, just today. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. We do have a number coming out here in about 11 minutes, so we don't like to trade any numbers. So hopefully you are flat by then. All right, going back down here to, if you were short there, this is where you want to cover some. Maybe you want to try to keep short. You can surely do that as well. As we've kind of blown off that top again, and they kind of did that. They've been doing that a lot lately. And now coming back down here to our pivot area. And market went down to our pivot area there, and nice rotation off of that area. And coming back up here to summit prices right here at 295, 92.50. So we do have a couple numbers coming out here at about 8 minutes. Okay. Market go right up to our blue band there and rotate off there a little bit. So we have factory orders and ISM services index coming out here in about 7 minutes. So we'll see if the market moves on that. And again, we've had some good opportunities here this morning. Just had to be a little bit patient and wait for them to occur. A new area of monetary policy is starting to hit investors in the face after previously estimating that any tightening would be limited and gradual. FOMC minutes released on Wednesday showed, excuse me, the officials are fully on board with fast scale back of central bank's asset purchasing program, which would give it a greater flexibility to raise rates and could happen as soon as March. Stocks tanked on the news. That's what they said. I don't understand that. And the Nasdaq ending the day down more than 3%, of the worst start to the calendar year since the financial crisis. It may become warranted to increase the federal funds rate sooner or at a faster pace than participants have earlier anticipated. Some participants also noted that it could be appropriate to begin to reduce the size of Federal Reserve's balance sheet relatively soon after beginning to raise the federal funds rate. As some participants judged that a less accommodating future stance of policy would likely be warranted and that the committee should convey a strong commitment to address elevated inflation pressures. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, the Fed is also going to be more aggressive in reducing its nearly $9 trillion balance sheet. And while it didn't put a timetable on a runoff, that's when it's shrinking holdings by allowing bonds to mature. Many are estimating that a tightening could happen as soon as the summer. Participants judge that the appropriate timing of the balance sheet runoff would likely be closer to that of the policy rate liftoff than the committee's previous experience. That could warrant a potentially faster pace of policy rate normalization. Some officials even said in the minutes that they preferred to rely more on balance sheet reduction and less on increases in policy rates to avoid flattening of the yield curve. All right, market now rotating down. Our downside support level is down at the 78 area. So basically, again, remember we talked about the market kind of range bound there for a week. Finally, I guess in the FOMC minutes, it's created the push here to the downside, confirming what they said a little while ago. I don't understand how they actually thought that. I don't know. Whatever. What can I tell you? With the Fed ready to aggressively dial back a pandemic-era ease policy, equities took a beating, especially high multiple tech stocks, growth stocks like Google, Facebook ended the day down 4%, while other names did a lot worse. Salesforce, which closed the session down 8%. Piling on the pressure was the rise in U.S. Treasury yields, the rate on a 2-year Treasury note, the maturity most sensitive to Fed policy expectations, shooting to its highest level since the pandemic began in March of 2020. As the market continues to downtick, it got support down at 78. We do have a number coming out here in about 3 minutes, so keep that in mind if you're going to put something on right now. People expected rate hikes this year, and that was the talk about. But I don't think people are expecting the Fed to already be speaking about letting the balance sheet run off even as soon as the first rate hike, said some chief analyst. If you ride a wave of liquidity to the upside and liquidity starts to go away, I don't think it's terribly surprising that you're going to see a reaction. Okay. Even before the FOMC minutes, the tech carnage, a rotation was being played out in previous 4 sessions. For example, Goldman Sachs hedge fund clients scooped up shares linked to airlines, energy, industrial names that benefited from the reopening trade and improving economy. That didn't tell me. No, I did that. Not tell me. So we slowly drift down here to the 78 area. Again, remember we have a number coming out here, so if you're going to have any trade, we're going to put on a trade, be mindful of that. Don't like to have any trades on when numbers are out, so it's going to be out in about a minute here. So keep that in mind here if you're going to trade this area. Be very careful. So we do have a couple numbers going to be coming out right now. So again, we'd like to be flat when numbers are out. And that's where we are right now. Well, at least I am right now. And we'll see what the market's going to do. Oops. All right. Again, with the underlying reason the market's going down, you would think that any of these numbers would really affect the market much, but you just never know. As we are getting a little volatility here, you can see how there we go, how it's all thinned out. All right. So kind of tough to trade this when the numbers are released and you have the wrong position and you can't even trade it fast enough because those algorithms are just like clicking away here when you get these 5-8 point moves in a second. That's what happened there. You got up to 83, 84, and you're back here to 73, 74 in less than 20 seconds. All right. It's kind of very hard to even like get in front of that or try to figure that out. You can't even get in front of it. It's just impossible. These algorithms are just too quick. And again, the reason that they're moving so fast is simply because somebody wants to trade 300 lot or 400 lot, you're going to just eat up a lot of those bids and offers. So, you know, and multiple people are doing it at the same time. So it becomes a little bit of an issue, right? So instead of trying to fight it, you just kind of watch it and just let it absorb the number, and then things will settle down, and we'll look for our next opportunity. Next support level we have is down at 68. That also matches up with that double bottom overnight, so be careful there. Keep your stops in place there as well. All right, market is just chopping around down here at these lows, interim lows. See what it wants to do next. Operations of all financial institutions in Kazakhstan have been suspended, including banks and stock exchanges located in Almaty. As turmoil continues to accelerate in the country, dozens of people were killed this morning and 400 were hospitalized as authorities cracked down on protesters. They were said to have stormed the government building. At least a dozen police officers also died, including one that was found beheaded, while more than 350 were injured. The protests began in the country's west, but quickly spread to the where the stock exchange is at Almaty and the capital of Nur Sultan. Over the worsening energy crisis and rising fuel prices, sentiment quickly shifted into anti-government riots, feeding off sentiment of 3 decades of rule by ex-president Nazarbayev, while hand-chosen successor Tokayev stripped his powerful predecessors of all the role as the head of the country's Security Council earlier in the week. That has failed to quell the demonstrators' anger, and Nazarbayev, which was the old guy, still widely seen as the main political force in the country, believed to control much of the economy. As the market continues to downtick, our next support level we have here is down at the 68 area. Again, keep your stops in place there based on what we talked about. Same thing as the top end there with the 03. As market is swiftly moving around, all right, to move up to our upside resistance there around the 12, and then to come right down here. We got, what is that, a 40-point move in about 15-20 minutes. So the volatility is still there. All right, coming down here to the 68 area. And again, like I said, keep your stops in place. And obviously, one other way to trade the market with the volatility is make sure you trade a little bit smaller, right? If you're trading one lots, just keep it tight and try to find a good entry point against the lower levels, and maybe take the lower end of these levels or the high end, depending on the situation, and see what the market brings you. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a rotation against these levels that we talk about. All right, trying to get a little bit of a rotation here against the 68 area. Again, if the volatility is too quick, right, and that could be the case if things are moving around too fast, again, just wait till things settle down here a little bit, and so that you can find a market that suits your risk tolerance. right? If it's going a little bit too fast, and like I said, a lot of the orders, the algorithms are being placed by these computer models that move the markets really quick. Sometimes it's hard for us to get involved with them. So if it's too quick for you and you want to wait for the market to settle down a little bit, then just be a little bit patient. Things will settle down over the next day or so. You don't have to trade just because there's a day to trading when the volatility is too extreme, right? So there is a 500 lot here that's been trying to lowering the entry point there. He had started at 70, it went down to 69. Now he's at 68. He's a 400 lot actually. They just took him out. See what the market wants to do now. Maybe give it a little green light to go up a little bit. Again, very, very thin. Got to be very, very quick. You got to place your orders in there, or else you have one chance and then they whoosh it away, right? I mean, it's just so quick. But you just got to understand the dynamics behind the market, and every different day is different dynamics. Some days we're very slow and nothing's going on. Other days you're staying on your toes the whole time, getting in and out, finding opportunities, and being patient, and then trading them. As we're getting a nice rotation here off of the 68 area, it took minimal heat there considering the dynamics of the market now. So nice little pop there. It only got down to 66.75, so just a little bit of heat there, but nothing really to be concerned with. And a nice rotation here off of it. If you're trying to stay long, just have a trailing stop. Again, it's hard to have a trailing stop with these things because what is your trailing stop? 3 or 4 points, you get filled in a second. All right, so nice rotation there against the 68 area with a minimal amount of heat there. If you're trying to stay long, again, just have a trailing stop. Good exit strategy would be around the, well, it'd be nice to get us up to the pivot, but I don't know if we're going to get up there. But just have a trailing stop so you don't lose anything on anything else you got on. We'll see where market goes from there. After the next level on the downside we have is 60. So, following an internet blackout and the airport capture, Russia sent in paratroopers under the Collective Security Treaty Organization, which also includes former Soviet states like Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and all these other stands that are out there, appear to help blaming foreign trained terrorist gangs for the violence. The move marks the second action by the Kremlin in as many years to bolster an ally facing unrest after supporting Belarusians leader in 2020. Kazakhstan has the largest proven oil reserves in the Caspian Sea region and is a big crude exporter, but perhaps more importantly than global energy markets, the country accounts for around 40% of the global uranium production. Stocks linked to radioactive metal are climbing on the news as the situation goes from bad to worse. So there you have it. So Kazakhstan has got some issues, and if it doesn't spill over into our market initially, if they don't get it under control, then at some point it will spill over into our market. At some point you're going to get some tidal waves, especially if the Russians get too involved, right? So we'll see what happens there. We continue to downtick. Next support level we have is down at the 60 area. Market is still very, very weakish. All right. Again, where you get in, where you find areas to enter, those are opportunities that the markets are going to create for us. And you got to just take advantage of it when they are available. It's hard to get short because of the rotations. You get these rotations that probably, if you have a trailing stop, unless you just walk away from it sometimes. As we quickly drift down here, we got 60 as our next support level. All right, so all the numbers are out for today. Obviously, we're going to have to deal with the follow through from yesterday's press release of the minutes. And that's what we're still trading off of this morning. We just got down to the 62 area here, so we have support down at 60. Be a little bit careful down there. I'd like to have hit it that first rotation to it. Obviously, it becomes a little bit more, even though it's 2 points away, 2+ points away, it is the market conditions that create to definitely be a little bit mindful of that. A nice rotation there off of the 62, popped it right back up. So definitely with the push down to 60, have to be a little bit careful here with, 62 with the 60 area. If we get back down there. All right, nice rotation there off of the 62 area. We had 60. Nice pop back up here. Right now, we got resistance around the pivot area there at 87 to 90. All right, nice little quick push here. That's what happens when they catch people a little bit short, right? And it's also very hard to try to stay short, right? You always say, "Oh, if the market's going down, we should just stay short." Heck, yeah, market rotates here, 20 S&P points. Where's your stop, right? Very tough to say, "Oh, this is kind of easy. The market's going down. How are you guys not short all day?" Well, this is the reason why you're not short all day, because you get these like quick rotations off of these lows. And again, it would have been nice if we got down to 60. Even if it got down to 61, I would have been happy. But it got down to 62 and a quarter, or 62 straight up, and then rotated back up. So uh, kind of missed out on that one just a little bit. But at least you're not short. All right. At least we were flat coming into it, and you're not going to get caught in this big rotation up here. So, I mean, the tendency is, you want to try to trade, but you have to be on the right side of this thing to trade. You don't want to be caught one way or the other as we get these big moves. At least we were flat. That doesn't lose you any money. And if we were looking at, again, our area to get long was down at 60, and we just missed out by just a kind of a point or so, depending on how you're scaling in. Add resistance around the 87 to 90 area. All right, let's see here, the volatility continues. Light trade, light volume, and the ladder ticket. There's nothing, no 100 lots up. Well, they're starting to slowly creep in. You're getting 50s and 60s now. So they're slowly creeping in with a little bit more volatility, but still moving around really quick. We had resistance at like I said, the 87 to 90 area, got up to 83 and change, and came off. So patience is important. Again, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat box area. For those of you who might have come in a little bit late, we're going to repeat the levels in the chat. There they are for us. We're going to use those as a guide to the day, and we can add to them, subtract from them. We can tweak them a little bit, adjust them a little bit based on price action. Everything is fluid here as you're trading futures markets that are very quick. The levels we gave out plus price action opportunities that occur, those are all taught experience so that you can kind of find these opportunities on your own and try to execute them and find them on your own. Know when to execute them, and sometimes also know when not to execute them based on volatility and price action as well. So yes, it will definitely be a day of infamy, a new day of infamy. Now we're coming back up here to the, oh, I got resistance at 87 to 90 area. And again, rotation back up here, looking at the 87 to 90 area, some resistance. If you're going to take it, just keep your stops in place. All right. Again, market continues to show its strength coming here off of those lows. Again, remember I said keep your stops in place no matter what. As the market continues to be very, very illiquid and moves really very quickly here, no matter how you slice it. So be very careful and be patient. and make sure you keep your stops in place. Nothing here is, none of this stuff is going to be perfect. So that's why we tell you to keep your stops. And then again, if the volatility is too quick, get it. Just be patient and wait for the market to kind of settle down a little bit before you get involved if this is moving too fast for you. Again, we have we get down 62 and run up here to almost a 92-ish area. So you got another 30-point move in about 15 minutes. So again, very, very swift trade, no matter how you slice it. All right. Well, that was a little working project there. And all the way up to the settlement price. I wish I knew that was going to happen. That would have been easier. Well, that is what it is. All right. So came back down here to the pivot area there and kind of holding. Thought maybe we'd have some resistance up there, but they got up to, that's a 90, and then they got up to 94 and then rotated off. All right, we're just kind of coming back up here to our pivot area, see what it wants to do. It's trying to see if we can hold the pivot area. Selling price here again is the 92.50 area. So we're just back here at the settlement price. Maybe going to be, I don't know what we're going to do. This is all over the place. Patience is important. Picking your spots is important. Every time you don't think you can get to a level, it gets to a level. So nothing here really surprises anybody. It shouldn't surprise anybody. Just be patient and wait for the opportunities instead of trying to just jump in there just because you see the numbers are flashing around all over the place. So there's the next upside resistance. Well, really, there's not much until you get up to that. Well, we already tested 13. By getting up there to 12, I mean, maybe you could retest that spike. If you're trying to stay long, anything below 80, you want to be out of any longs. So I guess because we're holding our pivot area and we're holding our settlement price, could rotate it back up when we were talking about getting short just not too long ago. So this is why you have to just wait for opportunities. Again, very difficult to try to stay one way when it looks quote unquote easy. There's nothing easy in this market, right? So you have to just pick your spots, find a good technical reason, a good logical reason to get in, keep your stops in place, and then as long as you found a trade or you understand this, why you would put on a trade and why it would work or it has worked for you in the past, then you put it on. If not, then just be patient and wait for something that you recognize. Recognition of a trade is very important. All right, there we go. You have a good one. So being patient and waiting for the price action opportunity or a level to be created by the market. But again, remember the very thinness of the market and it's very, I don't want to say illiquid, it's liquid, except it just moves around really quick. That's because of the light volume at the prices, but it is moving around. So you have to pick your spots and be patient. Find a good reason to get in and then keep your stops in place. Like I said, there's really nothing here up until maybe you retest that spike at 12. Otherwise, you're looking at the 20 area. Who would have thought that I'd be talking about 20 area on the upside and not 20 area on the downside? Just about 10, 15 minutes ago, right? This is what we're at. This is futures trading. Being patient and waiting for opportunities, very important. Try not to overtrade. It's very easy to overtrade when you get these kind of markets. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat box area. All right, we continue to stay strong here, looking for kind of healthy settlement price there, and continues to push forward. All right, again, market is holding the settlement price, holding the 87 pivot. If we get below 80, you want to be out of any longs. The market slowly finding its way back up here a little bit. Very impressive move upside, downside. Now we're just kind of maybe we'll find a little range here. If you see the overnight range, it's basically the middle of the overnight range. We'll see what it wants to do. All right, we've just kind of rotated back down here to the settlement point. It's kind of hard, like I said, to get any good idea where there's some good support besides, not really anywhere. Just got to be patient. Wait, I mean, if you're going to take a stand, I said anything below 80, you want to be out of any longs on the upside right now. If we get above 01, 02, we could maybe make a push up to that spike high there at 12. Kind of neutral right now in the middle here. Really don't have an opinion one way or the other. I know I'm giving you wide ranges, but the way the markets are, that's what it's given us. We can only take what the market gives us or doesn't give us. But today it's giving us a lot, but it's the ranges are wide. So we have to be a little bit careful and be patient. All right, again, we're taking a little bit of a range here. Bouncing up, getting off of that settlement price and trading up to the 7-8 area, 97, 98 area. Seems we got a little bit of a range here if you're going to be trading that. And again, we're bouncing off of that settlement price there at the 92 area, popping back up. Definitely a little bit of a range there, range play there if you are a little aggressive. All right, like I said, we have to get above the 02 for it to push up to the 12. We got right up to 2.5 there and push off that a little bit. So again, some of the concepts and ideas we look for or looking at still working. All right, now we're starting to go up here above 02. We're going to look for the, I guess maybe retest that 12, but really if you're looking for a good next level that we have is up at 20. All right, you can see here they just kind of popped up right above 02 and came washing back down. Very, very choppy little trade. All right, market now continues to try to uptick here a little bit. Kind of held at 92. That settlement price seems to be holding very well, and rotating back up here. Looking for the 12, and obviously there are rotations to the downside. Maybe those are the situations where you're trying to jump in. Oh, wow. Every time you think they're going to make their push, they flush it quickly back down. You got 10-point moves here. Very, very tough to, again, patience, waiting for a good entry point gives you a good opportunity maybe to stay long if you're trying to. If not, just keep your stops in place no matter what. Well, a nice rotation down through our blue band there. If you were watching and patient enough to wait for that opportunity, a nice little pop back up. Now they seem to have gotten a little bit, weakish. They tried to push it up a couple times, couldn't do it, and then the sellers are coming in again. Just be patient, wait for opportunities. This is a tough little area here to get too involved in, only because it's ranges are big, the areas are big, kind of hard to find. You get big moves, very tough to find. Pick your spots where you're going to get in, and just make sure you keep your stops in place. That keeps you in the game and gives you a chance to trade if you're looking for opportunities. Our levels are still there. Those are levels we're going to use throughout the day, especially the newer ones. The 12, 13 already got triggered basically with that 12. You got 20 and 31 and 40 on the upside, and the downside here, they retested. They went down to, they got down to 62 there. So, and that's, you have to be careful there about the 60. But you have those other levels on the bottom, and we might just kind of trade sideways here. This is the same range we were trading overnight. But again, tough to find little trades here when the ranges are moving as fast as they are. I mean, the trade is very thin still. So just be patient and wait, pick your spots. Like I said, it's hard to get too excited about any of these opportunities, only because the volatility is there and moves really fast, and you got to make sure you keep your stops in place. Again, like I said earlier, if the markets are moving around too quick, always can wait for things to settle down a little bit, and they will. Again, our blue band held here very nicely, giving us a nice rotation if you were so inclined. So some of our concepts and ideas that we look for have been working out okay for us. I'll get back here in a bit.
Hey, a couple quick programming notes as we're coming into the 11 a.m. hour here. Welcome guests, welcome current subscribers. Got a couple offers for you. First, if you have any questions about this service, don't hesitate to post it. Post it in the chat area. This is our Trade Along Live segment Trade Along Live with Saul. It's the morning segment between 9 a.m. and 12 noon, where the action of trading happens between 9:30, the opening bell, the cash open, and the S&P 500 E-mini, or the S&P. The cash open till about 11:30. If you haven't banked your money up until now, then ask for help in our Trading Academy. We've broken up our services into two pieces. One side is the Trading Academy. The other side, this side, is the Trade Along Live session with Saul. In the Trading Academy, Saul takes you into private session. He teaches you and mentors you. And then you have the ability to come into this side of the equation as the training side of your trading education. It's for new traders, experienced traders, anybody that's looking to develop consistent profitability in their trading. We're focused here on the S&P 500 E-mini, which is a very liquid trading instrument. It's been around for a long time. You can go both long and short. In other words, you can make money on the upside when the market's going up, or the downside when the market is going down. They call them short trades, fade trades, momentum trades, long trades. The concept here is how do you focus on doing 2, 3, 4, 5 trades, banking your money and being finished for the day. You have the option of coming into the Trading Academy as a new trader to get set off on the right foot, as an experienced trader that wants to regroup, throw out what's not working and hold on to what is, and work with Saul on a personal level. So as a new trader, it's great. As an experienced trader, it's great. You're in a private Zoom room with all the bells and whistles. Saul is there with you on a personal level. You develop a relationship with him. You work with him. Then you come in here as a bonus into this Trade Along Live session, which is part of the Trading Education Bundle. Let's see if I can lay it out a little clearer. Is that this Trade Along Live session with Saul is a standalone subscription. It has a fee and a cost. We have individuals that are signed up as subscribers and members of Saul's friends and family. They pay a monthly rate to be here. Saul gives out his proprietary scalping levels. You go through the morning session with him. He is your guide from an educational point of view only. He adjusts based on what's happening, based on the current market, based on what the market is giving, based on the morning session. And Saul is looking to trade himself based on his fixed levels and zones. We call them zones because anything can happen. You have to adjust and adapt to what's happening based on a current market condition to be able to pull out a profit during the trading morning. And Saul works with you on that as you attend and subscribe to this Trade Along Live session. We also have guests coming in. Welcome guests. You come into this side of the equation, the Trade Along Live session with Saul. You get to know us a bit. We ask you to quickly transition over to a paid subscriber. Now, I always say at the end of the morning session, it's my opinion, that if you haven't banked your money and more than it costs to be here in this Trade Along Live session, then you need to, in my humble opinion, spend time with Saul privately in his private Zoom room by taking his mentoring and his coursework. Now, you should go to our website. You should review what the options are for you. That's a you thing. Pick what you like to do. We do have a special offer today. We call it an exploding offer. It's here when I come in the morning, I give it out. If it's not here, I don't give it out. I'm going to give it out to everybody now. So take a moment, review it, take advantage of it. It's going to come in your chat area. Might be there already from earlier when I posted it. And I also have a link to the website. If you haven't made the transition out of guest into a paid friends and family member here for this Trade Along Live session, this is your opportunity to do it. And here's a link to the website to review what's offered based on the website. Hey, Victor, Tony, Reginald, John H., David L. Hey, David, how are you? Christoph, Alhaji. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. You got to let me know. Hey, Mark, if you're still around, if you want to see if you can put up your background and just close your lid, and that way you'll have a picture up there instead of just a blank spot for you. That's all out to everybody. Take a moment, review it, ask questions. Hey, Michael, let me know if you're around. Michael G, I'll give you out that telephone number, and we can chat if you want. So let me know if you're back. So I'm going to text it to you privately. All right, that's the hotline. Call that the red phone. Give a ring up anytime. Hey, we just had a question about if you are part of Sol's Trade Along Live session or Trade Along Live with Sol and you're a subscriber. If you decide to take Sol's mentoring and trader training, we can upgrade you into that opportunity. What's nice about the concept of being part of Sol's mentoring and trader training is that it comes with free access or bonus access for a year to this Trade Along Live subscription opportunity. So if you're one of those that like to do that, let me know. Just reach out and chat. If you want to spend some time on the telephone, that's great. Christoph, let me know what you want to do. Hey, quick shout and welcome back to Kenneth H. Hey, Kenneth, how's it going? Give me a quick shout out. That's for Kenneth H. Hulu trade. Let me know if you're back in action. Hey, Kenneth. How's it going?